Hello all, welcome back to another interesting story under the Ajadi Kamran Horse Story series by Momish Meetings. Today I'm going to introduce you to a young girl who is hardly 20 years old but stood tall as a tall as an example for the woman power. Interesting, isn't it? Let us go to 17th century to meet this young girl and see who is she, how she stood as a tall example for the woman power. She is none other than Pyari Gurjar from the current Uttar Pradesh region. She is the person who is responsible for driving away Taimur Lang out of India. We all know so much about Taimur, right? We have read in our history books that he's the old conqueror and stuff like that. So before we get to talk about Pyari Gurjar, let us first talk about Taimur and just recollect a little bit of facts. Taimur Long belongs to a shepherd family in the current Uzbekistan area. He his surname is not Lang, but he's been given the title as Lang because he has deformity in his leg. He cannot walk properly, and his one of his hands also doesn't work properly. Because of that, Langra is what people used to call him, and he affirms or confirms that he is from the world famous conqueror Genghis Khan's lineage. But historical records doesn't say that about that fact much. What we do know is that Taimur Lang grew up from a shepherd's family into an emperor. It's purely based on his brutality, his determination to win empires and to rule and establish rule like Genghis Khan. He started pulling in couple of other shepherd boys and started revolting against the local chieftains, the bigger shepherds and stuff like that. And that's how he started accumulating his army. Once he got sufficient army, he started attacking the local kings, and then he started ruling over them, and that's how he started expanding his empire. And no wonder he couldn't stay back from India because India is known to be the golden duck in those days, right? I'm talking about 17th century where all the world was looking at India, and they are trying to find out some or other route to come and invade India so that they can take the loot that is getting generated out of India. And everybody wanted that share of that money, riches, culture, heritage. You name the thing, it is there in India. So, in the similar way, Taimur Lang also got attracted towards India, and at that point of time, in Delhi, the Delhi Sultanate was under the control of Tughlaq, and Tughlaq's control was getting weakened day by day, and people and Hindu kings were rising against Tughlaq, and they're trying to establish their own forts in and around Delhi, and obviously Taimur Lang felt that this is the right time to come and invade India, and he came directly to India and he came directly to Delhi to conquer the Delhi throne. And the way he conquered the Delhi throne itself is the biggest story in the history, which people talk a lot. Even till today, a lot of people talk about how Taimur Lang has conquered Delhi. He came with just with camels and army battalion and everything. That those numbers are huge. I'm not denying that, but at that point of time, the Afghanistan doesn't have, or the Uzbekistan the current Uzbekistan doesn't have any elephants, my dear friends. So but their camels are scared of elephants, and their army people are also scared of elephants. So Delhi King Tughlaq has cleverly used elephants to scare them out. He made all the elephants stand in a line and tied their legs with the chain, and he was driving those elephants to go and attack the enemy camp. And here, Taimur Lang used his military strategy. He had set a lot of hay bundles on each and every camel's back and had set fire on them. The moment camels' back started burning, these camels started going haywire and they started screaming, and they were going in whatever direction which they choose to. And seeing these erratically behaved camels, the elephants got scared and they wanted to run back to their fort. And while running back, they stamped their own army and the people who are guarding those elephants, who are mahouts, everybody. And that is how Tughlaq has lost all his army. And Taimur could capture Delhi fort pretty easily. After he captured Delhi fort, he was not satisfied with the loot that is present in the Delhi forts. I mean, the riches that are present in the Delhi fort. He went on plundering the common man's houses in Delhi, and the bloodbath which he has created in Delhi streets is the biggest story, which they call the dance of the death and the Nath. And all they had given so many nicknames for all these things, which I don't want to well too deep into it, but I want to talk about some other things. So the Delhi city at that point of time itself is so big that the Taimur Lang's army were enjoying looting and plundering the nearby villages, nearby, I mean, the common man's houses in Delhi, and they were having a heyday in Delhi. Around the same time, we do have a small story that is developing little far away from Delhi in the Saharanpur district of the current Uttar Pradesh. Ram Pyari Gurjar was born around 18 to 19 years back to a Chauhan family in Saharanpur district of the current Uttar Pradesh. Uh, and her parents are very traditional oriented people who are very religious, and they instead of giving her the formal education, they should teach her from the our epics, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all those stories. And at that point of time, Ram Pyari Gurjar took more liking for the wrestling, or what you call the other military skills, and she likes mostly the wrestling, and she wanted to always be a wrestler, and she learned wrestling. She formed a girl gang who can wrestle along with her, and she should go and watch all the wrestling matches along with her dad and for brothers. And she, because of her family background, she has turned out to be a disciplined child. Every day morning she should get up and practice her wrestling skills, and she used to do continuous practice, and she should learn a lot of things on her own, like sport fighting and stuff like that. Because of her discipline, her character started improving, her perceptiveness started improving, the way she was behaving with the others elders in the community started improving, and everybody was of so much praise about her. But that is not all. When the Delhi massacre has happened and how Tughlaq has occupied the Delhi throne, the news started spreading in a kind of wildfire across the northern India and even to the South India. And people are all scared about Taimur Lang's army and the way they were. I mean, ill-treating the common man, the way they were slaying common man, they were misbehaving with the ladies, kids, old people, and everybody. So then at that time, the Sharanpur area was being ruled by the Jat king called Devapala. He organized a Mahapanchayat in which everybody in and around Sharanpur, Meerut, the current UP, Uttar Pradesh area, everybody has participated. And he told that whatever we are hearing from Delhi is not very good news. We need to actually fight for it. And if we just think that only king can manage it, it is not going to happen, because we saw and we are hearing the stories as to how ruthless Taimur Lang's army is. So we need each and every person in the village to be a part of this army and to be fighting against Taimur, because that is our duty towards our motherland. We need to safeguard our children, our ladies in the families. We cannot let Taimur or any of the soldiers behave badly with any of the people who are not well, the kids, the innocent kids, the helpless people. We should all safeguard them. For which the Mahapanchayat had agreed. They had forgotten all the caste barriers, all the religion barriers, everything, and they started agreeing, and they appointed a lot of army generals. And hearing about this Mahapanchayat meeting and stuff like that, Ram Pyari Gurjar couldn't sit at home. She also went and took part in the Mahapanchayat. And I already told you that she is a very disciplined girl, very curious about the military skills, always wants to participate in all the decision making stuff at the house. She went and spoke to King Devapala, said that not only men should fight against Timur. Even we women also want to take our revenge for the way he misbehaved or ill-treated women folk in Delhi. When King Devapala said, "Yes, I do agree with your viewpoint, but how many of the women folk from our own community, I mean villages or region, can really fight? I see only you who is interested in wrestling and a couple of your friends, but these numbers are not sufficient to wage a war against Timur. We need to have more bigger numbers." Then our Pyari Gurjar told King Devapala that, and asked him to give her some time so that she can prepare a woman army. Interesting, isn't it? It's just a 20-year girl who is, I mean, in these days, she'll not even be out of the college, right? She stood and spoke to the king of the region, and she said that she'll organize a women army. She started going in and around every village to every household and started convincing all the women who are there in those houses about the importance of waging a war against Timur, and how each and every woman, ladies from the house, from the village, can really become a big instrument in defeating Timur. Most of the people got convinced with her argument. Within a span of 15 days to 1 month, a women's army was formed, which contains 40,000 people. Imagine, my dear friends, in those days itself, it rose up to 40,000. It's not a small number, right? That shows her true leadership skills, her negotiation skills, her convincing skills. And then she went and met King Devapala. King Devapala gave her the women army commander post. And then all these people started discussing as to how to attack Taimur Lang in Delhi. Then she said, like, Pyari came up with the idea that we should know the whereabouts of Taimur. Only if we know, because their army is huge, we cannot, with the limited number of army people which we have, we cannot go and do a direct war with them. Instead, once if we know in which way they are going or what they are doing, what they are up to tomorrow, we can definitely change our plans and attack him and torture him, which sounds like a reasonable plan. So they all agreed. 500 people were employed as the spies, were given horses, and sent to Delhi to spy on Taimur Lang and his army people. And these 500 people were staying in and around Delhi, started spying regularly, and started passing on the information. So the fine day has come. Pyari Gurjar, along with 2,000 army people from her and the women army folks from her end, went to Delhi, and she started attacking Taimur Lang's army. You know how? She went into Taimur Lang army people were plundering all the villages. That's what they and enjoying the loot, enjoying the time with the slaves, spending time willfully at that point of time, right? Morning they were all doing that. At night, one day, at night, middle of the night, Pyari Gurjar, along with her other women army friends, went into Taimur Lang's camp, slayed 3,000 army people's necks, just like this, like a swift of the air, breeze of the air. Nobody knew what happened. By the time next day morning sun came up, all these people's bodies were floating in the Yamuna River, which is on the in the Delhi, right? And people got surprised. Taimur got shocked. What happened? How come suddenly? Not a single place, I mean, thing was disturbed. Not a single thing was out of place. But how come all this happened? They didn't know what to do. They don't know who the enemy is because all the enemies are dispersed as air. Then next day happened. This very next day, another incident happened in a similar way. This time around 4,000 people were slain. People started getting jittery. Taimur Lang's army camps. Taimur was getting confused. What is happening to them? I thought, I mean, attacking Indians, converting them into Islam is a very easy task for me. And that has proven to me in the Delhi conquest. But now suddenly, what is happening here? In also he was hearing lot more about the Meerut kingdom, the riches that is associated with the Meerut kingdom and stuff like that. He said, okay, fine, let us move towards Meerut and then attack Meerut. Let us leave this, I mean, doomed Delhi because maybe the people are trying to take revenge on us. So his army started moving towards Meerut. And while they are moving, the information has passed from these spies to Pyari Gurjar and her other team members, the male army members of the team. So immediately those male people have moved to those small villages which fall in between Delhi to Meerut and got those villagers, evacuate those villages, move the people who are in helpless condition, move the innocent children, move the women who cannot fight to safety, along with the riches that are available in their each and every household. So wherever Taimur Lang and his team are going, they are seeing only deserted villages. They were not getting any food to eat, any water to drink. They were they were getting tired, they were getting jittery, they didn't know what to happen. And suddenly, during the daytime when they're traveling, the guerrilla attacks are happening. Who is doing these guerrilla attacks? Devpala's King Devpala's team, army people, male people who are doing the guerrilla attacks in the morning. And if they think that they can rest down in the night and get up for a fresh start with energized mind and body, that is also not possible for them because Pyari Gurjar and her team members were attacking them in the night, looting away the food supplies which they stored in their camps or tents, killing their people, killing their horses, killing their camels. They were creating a lot of damage to these people. Taimur got really irritated. He got really panicked. He didn't know what's happening. Why is all the bad omens started happening to him? He was getting frustrated, irritated. He doesn't know whom to show on his anger. He kept on moving. And by the time he didn't attack Meerut, he moved towards Saharanpur. He changed his directions. Wherever he's going, he's being attacked from in the morning, in the night. So basically, Taimur's life was made hell by these teams. And finally, the D-Day came when the open battle happened between Taimur Lang and the teams of King Devapala. And then in the final battle, Pyari Gurjar, along with her women folk and other male people, started attacking Taimur. Already, Taimur army were in a very bad state, so they were losing their lives easily. They were getting defeated easily. Then comes our Harvi Singulia, who is again another 20-year-old boy, freshly trained, eager to take a revenge on Taimur for all his bad deeds, has taken a big spear and wanted to throw it from a distance of 5 feet. But then he got a doubt. What if I'm throwing it from the 5 feet and if the air pushes the spear, it might not hit the heart of Taimur. So I need to go and personally stab him. He went into to as close as Taimur within a feet distance and he stabbed Taimur very forcefully. And that spear had all the potions also applied to the front of the spear. It went and pierced through Taimur Lang's chest, and Taimur suffered a severe blow and he fell down from the horse. He said, "What is this India? I thought India is going to be as easy target as other European countries, African countries where I looted so much wealth. It's okay. The life in me is not yet over. I will come back to India and show them once again what Taimur is all about and what Taimur's anger is all about. First, let me get back to my homeland and get cured." Because he didn't have trust on the ancient Hindu medicine, he decided to go back. He came with 150 soldiers. By the time he left from Saharanpur or somewhere near Haridwar, where the battle actually happened, the final battle, he left with hardly 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers. So then imagine the damage which Taimur has incurred from his side. I don't know how much wealth he carried back from India. None of the records state that. But the supreme courage, display of courage and bravery done by Pyari Gurjar and Harvi Singh Gulia is just commendable. In fact, Harveet Singh Bhulia was captured by Taimur soldiers, and they were beating him, they were stabbing him, they wounded him very badly. Then Pyari Gurjar and her team took Harveet Singh Bhulia back to home and treated him, but he had succumbed to injuries. Pyari Gurjar stood as a testimony for the brave womanhood, for the what women's willpower can do actually, how we can teach a big lesson to the people who misbehave with us. Unfortunately, again, my dear friends, her stories are not appearing anywhere in the Indian history books. We can only see the accounts of her about her battle, her Harveet Singh Bhulia's battle, everything in Zafarnama, the biography of Taimur, written by a Persian travel logger. And then we can also see references about her battle in the Oxford History of India from earliest times till 1911. But most of our historians say that whatever I'm telling you right now about the story about Ram Pyari Gurjar is just a fiction. You all know, right? Most of the historians say that Ramayana is a fiction, Mahabharata is a fiction, and everything is a fiction. I'm just leaving the question open to you. If you want to believe the story, do believe it because we do have certain differences here and there about Ram Pyari Gurjar. But I want one lesson this generation kids should learn from Ram Pyari Gurjar. She's just a young lady, not even a lady, young girl, isn't it? She never felt scared of the biggest enemy like Taimur, known to be as the worst perpetuator of crimes, but a big empire because it occupied so many kingdoms in Africa, European countries, even invaded on China for that matter. But she never got scared. If she's able to face the biggest problem like Taimur and come out in a successful way, why can't we do that? Just because we failed in exams, this young generation is committing suicides. I think these are the important life lessons that we should learn from Ram Pyari Gurjar. Be it be fiction or non-fiction, but I think these lessons are valid even till today. That's all, my dear friends, for today. Have a nice day. Let's meet tomorrow with another interesting story. Bye bye.